What's up, everyone? Blue Ranger Power here. Wearing my Red Ranger helmet. Well, I'm gonna do something a little different for this video. Take this off. Little. How's wear this thing for a long period of time? It gets a little hot in there. Uh, yeah, but still an awesome helmet. Well, okay, like I was saying, I'm doing something different. I just saw the recently released the new Power Rangers movie, Saban's Power Rangers 2017. And I'm going to do a movie review of it. Heads up though, this video will contain spoilers because I'm going to explain the movie a bit. Well, before I start talking about the movie, here's a little bit of a history for people who aren't too familiar with Power Rangers. Well, I'll start with the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, where Rita escapes a time capsule. This is all in Mighty Morphin, so don't worry, this part isn't the spoiler part. She came back, she escaped after 10,000 years, she was trapped there. And then it's a long story, blah blah blah. For people who have watched the show, we all know the story. Then she escapes, and Zordon has to get teenagers' attitude, which she gets Jason, Billy, Trini, Kimberly, and Zach, all kids at Angel Grove High School. They don't know what to do, and then they become Power Rangers, and they have to help fight Rita with the Zords, Goldar, blah blah blah, and fighting her putties and all that. And then pretty much they save the day. It's always gonna be a classic. That was on one of my Saturday morning shows back when I used to watch Saturday morning cartoons, even though it really wasn't a cartoon, but it's still a classic nonetheless. That's what this is inspired from. All right, well, I saw the movie last night, and it's based off of Mighty Morphin, so there's a lot of different Power Rangers stories, but Mighty Morphin is always gonna be my #1 favorite. All right, well, this is when we start talking about the movie. So, again, if you have not seen the movie, back out now. This is gonna include spoilers and everything. All right. Well, the movie starts off with Jason. He's not exactly a well-behaved kid like in the show. In the show, these kids are not exactly well-behaved kids. Well, except Billy, but they're all pretty bad kids. They do a lot of dumb crap. Jason, to start off the movie, he's run from the cops. He wants to pull a prank, so he's walking around the campus with a cow, trying to have a little fun, but messes up somehow and crashes a car. And now he has to go to Saturday detention just so he can graduate. And he's sitting there in detention. He meets Billy, and he meets Kim. Kim's kind of she's a good kid, but she does a lot of bad. Excuse me. She does a lot of bad things, like how she harasses others people sometimes. Billy, he's a nerdy kid still, but his inventions cause more damage than they do good. And when Jason in the movie, he does something really bad, so he has the ankle bracelet because he's on parole. And pretty much Billy knows how to outsmart it, so he can go out past his curfew, and he does it. He does that, and then pretty much since he did that, Billy gives him access to his parents' car so they can go out into the desert, so Billy can do some exploration. And then he runs into Kim while he's out there. He thinks she's drowned, but she really isn't. She's just swimming out there. And then they find her. And then he was talking about how he wants to leave Angel Grove, but then they run into another girl named Trini. She was hanging out over there doing backflips, saying, "Oh, it's really young." Like, hey, you guys can't be back here, but she's back there doing it too. And then Zach is over there doing a lot of dumb stuff too. They just happen to run into Zach. Then Billy's thing, eventually he kind of explodes the wall, and then they come across things in the wall, the power coins in the movie, and they don't know what they are, but they still keep them, one of each color: the blue, red, black, yellow, and pink. The coins are definitely cool looking, but they're different. And then in the movie, they're about ready to get caught, so they all just get in the van, they book it, and they had to help everyone. And then the van crashes, and then like nothing, they wake up all in the bed like nothing happened. They have no memory of coming home or anything like that. And they wake up the next morning. They all of them had like do super strength. Like this one guy in the movie, he was trying to be a bully to Billy. He was trying to break Billy's hand, but he couldn't do it. And pretty much, they too bad that Bulk and Skull weren't in the movie, but it was still really cool the way they had handled that one bully. Then they all of them meet up at that desert area again. They were trying to figure out what's going on. And then they go back to exactly where they found the coins. They find the wizard. They all jump across. They all can jump very high apparently. And they and then they accidentally fall down this. Billy falls down this one big hole like nothing. And then they had to force Prina to come down, but she did because Kim had to drag her down. And then pretty much they get swim underneath water. They see themselves going like, and the one good friend when the guy played Zach, he just had a black coin. They're like, Zach goes, "Hey, I'm black." Billy goes, "No, you're not." It was just kind of funny. And then they swim down deeper, deeper. Then they see a puddle of water underneath a puddle thing of water. So they touched it and they went through it, and there was like a little entrance right there. Then they go up to they go up these stairs. They think like, oh, it's an alien spaceship. But and then and then they're like, oh no, and then bam, they had the command center, which was actually really cool how they introduced the command center, how they don't just teleport into like old in the chimney like they did the old school show. And then they meet Alpha, and they're like, okay, who the heck are you? And they Alpha's a badass in this movie. How he just grabs us like, hey, you guys here, listen, it's pretty cool. And then they meet Zordon, played by Bryan Cranston. Bryan Cranston, fun thing, when I think of the name Bryan Cranston, I just think of either Malcolm in the Middle, Hal, or Breaking Bad, Walter White. And then, top up, he actually did play some of the Power Rangers villains in the old school show, but I didn't know that till fairly recently. Alright, well, back to the plot, and then Alpha meets up, talks to them that they're the Power Rangers. They're all confused, obviously. And then they leave home for one day. Well, actually, don't take it back. And then they're like, Zoran's explaining it to them. Like, what the heck's going on? They're the Power Rangers now. They had to show them a little scary version of Rita. How she's kind of on the verge of trying to get over the Zeo Crystal, because that's what the command center is. Keeps everything powered going. Look at the Zeo Crystal. Another thing is pretty much like, then it kind of scared them up a little. They just freaked out and they just booked it for a little bit. So it got fresh in their mind, and then they said, you know, we need to go back. Got all of them. They all had to come back, which they did. And they thought they could just morph, but unfortunately, this movie they could not just morph like that. There was no morphers. They still had a morphing grip. They tried to morph, but they couldn't, so they had to go down the pit and fight the pit. I think yeah, they had to fight putties. Everyone thought it, but the putties in this movie actually a bit tough, so I had to go back and back many different times. And then they start fighting the judge, and then Billy got in the middle of Zach and Jason. Then he was able to morph for a brief moment. Then he would demorphed, and he's not sure how he did it. Then they said, "Okay, come." Zordon says, "You know, come back tomorrow." This movie, Zordon, he's a little meaner, but he cares about the world. Okay, where's the full up? All right. Sorry about that. And then another thing that happened, like they all stood at the campfire. They had to explain the backstories. Like Kim admitted that she's done a lot of bad things, like spreading rumors. Jason admits that he was a good kid, and then he just started being bad and just started picking fights and everything. Trini, she just has a perfect family, but she hates it. Zach, he has a mother that is very, very ill, and that's all he has. And Billy, all he has is mom and his inventions, and he just has a lot of bad luck with inventions sometimes, and that's why he was in detention. Alright, and then they realized, and Kim actually didn't want to tell everything. She had said, Skip, you should tell another time. But then she got up to Jason and said, we think we know why we're not morphin'. And then she told him the full story of her background. I'm not going to go into detail about that, though. And then they realized that Rita's about ready to take over the Earth, because Billy found out where the Zeo Crystal was found. It was underneath the Krispy Kreme. Yeah, it's just funny in a way. Krispy Kreme. Well, blah 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 there, and then they said we need to fight Rita even though they haven't morphed yet. Rita tries to get Trini to get on her side, but Trina denies it, obviously. And then another thing that happened. Well, actually, one thing that I'm not sure if I mentioned or not, but at the beginning of the movie, they do explain how Zordon got stuck in the time warp. How he used to be a Power Ranger, he managed to get all the coins and store them away for when someone with worthy will take them. And Rita was a Power Ranger too, apparently. I'll go into that story later. And then, well, like I was saying, then they all had to fight Rita, and Rita kind of beat the crap out of them all. Rita actually fights in this movie because in the 90s, all she did was send people, and she'd just go, "Make my monster grow" with her staff thingy. That was cheesy in the 90s, but it's still classic. And then pretty much sorry, lost track. And then they got all the Rangers tied out, even though because they obviously could not fight her, she owned them. And then she had to interrogate him because they thought the only one person knew the Zeo Crystal was Billy, because he's very smart. then they pretty much said like, we need Zeo. They were saying, oh, we don't know the Zeo Crest is. Yeah, but when he doesn't, Billy spilt the beans, and then to prove a point, she killed him, which is very bad. And then they brought him back to the command center, saying that release your list and blah 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 blah. And then pretty much there was a time when Zordon could have gone back to time warp and come back, but he did something very noble. He sacrificed it so Billy could be brought back to life, and he was. And then they realized that it's time for them to really take it seriously. They stopped in the pit, got better. They were able to finally morph it, but then Rita was able to create Goldar. Oh, on top of that, she created Goldar by eating pure gold from jewelry stores, gold from lots of places, blah blah blah. Well, on top of that, I forgot to mention this, but they found Rita underneath the water with a lot of dead fish. They just thought it was just a random body, but they didn't realize it was Rita. Obviously, couldn't tell. Well, later in the movie, you see it starts glowing green because that's her Ranger color apparently, which would explain a lot. And then on top of that, they were able to summon the fight the putties. They just kept fighting. They were even not hologram putties. They were real putties. Then they were fighting the putties, beating them all and all that. But then they saw Goldar terrorizing the city, so they had to get the Zords. But the one thing I loved when they pulled out the Zords all flying out, they had the classic Power Ranger theme from the '95 movie with Ivan Ooze. I lost it when I saw that. This movie, they knocked it out of the park. Then pretty much they had to fight Goldar, blah 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 blah, transform Megazord. Then it was pretty crazy how they just couldn't, they just did not give up. They thought they were going to lose, but then, bam. This Megazord is definitely different. But the thing about this movie, even if you don't like the looks of the movie, I still recommend you see it. They knocked it out of the park. If you don't like the looks, if you get past the looks, the way the story, the way they do it, the way they played it out, it was spectacular. This is not definitely not a kids movie. It's based off of pretty much kids like me who grew up in the '90s, watching Power Rangers when it first came out. It's spectacular. Oh yeah, it was pretty crazy in the movie when Jason David Frank, Amy Jo Johnson had that cameo in there, which is really cool. I just could not get over that. It was pretty cool with Jason David Frank in there. Well, he is one of the best, obviously. Except for my arm. Excuse me, on my arm, and then I have 4 power coins. I'm gonna get a few more when I have the money. Yeah, but definitely, it was definitely worth the scene. And another thing is awesome, when they're fighting Rita when she took over Goldar. I know it's weird thinking Goldar is just something that's controlled. It's because in the show she was always her right-hand man. But who knows? It's hard to say because they say they're going to do like another 6 movies. Oh yeah, and actually pretty cool. After the movie, there's a little mid-credit scene when they had all the kids in detention again. They said one more person in detention. They mentioned Tommy Oliver. I just cannot get over that. Which I think that's because apparently Rita's a former Power Ranger. Obviously, she could be. That's where Tommy's power comes from. That's what I'm thinking they're gonna do because that's what they did in the show. Well, she wasn't really a Power Ranger, but she created the evil Green Ranger in the show. But like I said, my recommendation for this movie, they knocked it out of the park. It was spectacular. I highly recommend seeing it. Well, everyone, that is it for this review. Hope you guys enjoyed it. And hey, it's morphin' time. See the movie.